Hi, friend. I am so excited about this episode because, as I promised, I'm taking you behind the scenes of my membership launch. And this episode was recorded just 48 hours before the doors open and the launch is in full swing. So it's packed with real life emotion and real talk about how I feel just days before everything is live. So if you're curious to hear about the numbers and the thoughts that are swirling around in my head as this launch is taking place, I want you to keep listening. You're going to love it and get a true taste of what it's like behind the scenes of an online launch. Welcome to the Marketing Yoga with Confidence podcast. I'm your host, Amanda McKinney, and I couldn't be more excited that you're here today. Thank you for spending some time with me, and it's my goal to share practical marketing tips with you so you can learn and grow your yoga business. Because when you do this, you impact more lives, and how amazing is that? This episode is brought to you by my membership, Marketing Yoga with Confidence. And the doors are officially open for 2 weeks. And you're invited to the party. If you're listening live, then I want you to check it out at Marketing Yoga with Confidence /membership. And even if you're not listening to this in real time, go check it out and get on the wait list. You're about to hear the behind the scenes of how I feel during this process. But on the website, you can actually hear from founding members and get a true feel for what's happening inside the membership. I love it, they love it, and I know you will too. So get in there. I can't wait to write your name on a Post-it. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, be sure to go back and listen to episode number 9. But for now, let's jump into episode number 11, because when I was creating online programs and starting my business, I was so curious about this process. So I listened to every behind the scenes information I could, and so I want to share mine with you. Oh my goodness, it is the week before my launch. So as I'm recording this, it's Wednesday, and the doors to my membership open up on Friday. So in just 48 hours, everything turns on. So if you're listening live, that means the doors are open right now. And let's hope all the technical issues and kinks have been worked out by now, because I'm sure that I'm going to have some over the next 48 hours. But I wanted to share with you how I'm feeling. And I wrote down these words as I was planning for this episode, and it's interesting the words I chose. And I feel excited, nervous, overwhelmed, pumped up, confident, and doubtful. Confident and doubtful, right? Yes, I'm having all of these emotions because in 1 minute I feel like, yeah, this is amazing. I've got this. I love what I have to offer. I'm so proud of how it's impacting yoga teachers. I hear from the founding members all the time that it's amazing, so I'm so proud of it. And then literally the next minute I think, what the heck am I doing? Everyone and their mother is launching something this month, and who in the world is going to join this membership? Isn't it amazing how we can have those two thoughts and almost like 1 minute away from each other? But it's so, so true. But then I have to take it back and remember, I am hearing from yoga teachers who are telling me that it's helping them grow their business. And I've done all the prep work for this launch. So I need to remember all of that and take it one step at a time. So speaking of all that prep work, it's amazing that I'm actually still following my plan so far. See, we have this thing where we create these marketing plans, and I could write one for you. I definitely wrote one for myself. And they go off track so quickly because you can write something on paper, but how it works in real life is usually different. But I had a pretty solid plan for what I wanted to do leading up for the launch. And I'm actually still doing it, which is amazing. So as I'm recording this, I am right in the middle of the 5-day video challenge. And if you know a little bit about launches, typically an online launch has something that leads up to the doors opening. The cart is open. And that is what I'm doing with the 5-day challenge. And so that's happening right now, and it's so much fun. And not only is it fun, but it's impactful for these yoga teachers that are in it. And it's going so well that I've decided to add something else to my to-do list this weekend and actually make that video challenge evergreen. What that means is that even though the challenge is over, you can still participate. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you can go to Marketing Yoga with Confidence www.thebigwin.com/learn, and you can access the challenge. And I did this because so many people ask me about video, so it was a perfect time for me to offer something that is absolutely of value to my audience and then open the doors at the end of that challenge. But back to the main point, it's that I'm following the plan so far. And that means that I wrote it down that I wanted to have a challenge before the membership doors open, and that's exactly what I'm doing. And I've done a few other things along this way that are still according to plan, which is I've already scheduled all of my social media posts and the emails for the first week of the launch. So my launch is a 3-week process in which there's a week for the challenge and then the cart is open for 2 weeks. And what I decided to do was to do this 1 week at a time. So while I technically already have all of my emails written for 2 weeks of the launch, I'm only scheduling 1 week at a time. And I'm doing this because I think things are going to change after the first week. I might recognize that I want to send more emails, or I want to adjust some things that I thought I was going to do on social media. So what I've done is just pre-planned for a week, and then I'm going to have an adjustment period, which I'm just going to do a check-in, and you're going to hear about it in the next podcast to see what I've changed. But so far, I am sticking to my original plan. And the other thing that I've done is I've prepared my family, because here's the real deal here. I can feel myself slipping. Over the past few weeks, I've gotten more stressed out about little things, and I'm doing the best to keep my cool, but I know that my nerves are really high right now. And it's Wednesday, so I'm going to call a family meeting on Sunday. And I'm going to do it on Sunday because my husband is actually out of town right now. And that was something that wasn't planned. So when I put this on the calendar, we didn't know that he would be out of town. And that's something that just happens. You know, his job just called him out of town for a week and he had to go. And it's really important. His career is so incredibly important, and I have flexibility. So in that moment, I have to then do all the pickup and drop off and all of that, all the household stuff that, you know, we really do split when he's home. So there's a lot more that fell on my plate, but he was super sweet, and he has been so helpful and so supportive in all of this. But it has made me adjust a little bit. And I think it's just I've put a little bit more pressure on myself. So what I want to do is on Sunday, have a conversation with our family and just sit down and say, okay, Amanda needs a little extra love and grace for the next 2 weeks. It's really what I want to communicate and just say, you know, this is a really important time for my business, and everyone sitting right here in front of me is the most important in my life. But this is a short period in which I'm just going to need a little bit of grace. So pick up after yourself a little bit more than normal, and, you know, don't get upset if I'm a little shorter than normal with my words and maybe I'm working more. That's one thing that I've noticed over the last few weeks is that I have to work a little bit more than I typically do. Most people think entrepreneurs are always working nights and weekends, and I totally think that's crap. I think you can set yourself up to where you have to work that much, but I also think there's some time management there too. And I've built a really successful business, and I really don't work nights and weekends 90% of the time. But right now, I'm working all the time. I've got a lot of things on my plate, and hopefully I'll be able to outsource a little bit more of that as I go forward. But right now, I have to work extra. I just have to work more. So I've asked my family, and I'm going to ask them again to just extend a little extra grace and love to me. So, honey, dear honey, if you're listening right now, just know that I love you and I appreciate so much all the extra support you're giving me in this time. I pinky promise I'll be back in October, so hang with me. So another thing that I had to do before the launch, before the doors can open, is do some list building. And no matter where you're focused on a launch, if you're thinking about doing something locally or if you're thinking about launching something online, it doesn't matter. Building your email list is so critically important. I talk about this a lot, but I don't think I can say it enough. It doesn't matter what you're doing, you need to have an email list because yes, you can love Facebook or Instagram, but you do not own those platforms and they could be taken away tomorrow. The fact is, if you have email addresses and you download a copy of your email subscribers every now and then you do own those email addresses. Because what if Instagram or Facebook went away? You would have no way of communicating with your audience. You couldn't tell them your schedule for the next week. You couldn't ask them questions. So I want you to be building an email list, and this is really important, specifically during a launch as well. So for me, I decided to do 2 different things to specifically build my list during this launch period. One of them I did was a free training, which is a webinar basically, and that happened last month. And then the other is the 5-day video challenge that I'm currently running right now. And I'm going to share some numbers with you about how many people I had in the challenge and in the webinar. But what I want you to know is that I'm going to be sharing a lot of numbers over the next little bit in the podcast. And I don't want you to freak out about it. Because the thing is, my scale is going to look different than your scale. I'm calling in 100 yoga teachers to my membership. So that number is really big. I've shared with you, it feels like a big number for me, but your number is most likely 10 people for a workshop, or 5 people in some sort of a group, or 1 private client. So I want you to keep this perspective. Hang with me, because I had several people reach out after episode number 9, where I shared my list of ideas for my marketing plan, and they said that it was pretty overwhelming. And I'm sad that I did that on one hand, because I don't want to overwhelm anyone, but I'm also really happy that I was sharing what I put into a marketing plan, and I want to give the perspective of I've been a marketer for a really long time. So a long list of ideas for me is not as overwhelming. There's still a lot of tasks that go along with it, and I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. But I want you to know that my scale is just really different from yours, and you're not going to start with the numbers that I have listed for today. But I promised to be really open about numbers, and so I want to do that for you. So I had actually 51 people that signed up for the free training, and I had 58 people sign up for the video challenge. And truthfully, I really wanted those numbers to be way higher. I expected a few hundred people in each of these. And in hindsight, there are a few things that I could have done very differently in order to get those higher numbers. And the reason I wanted those higher numbers is because of conversion. And again, I'm going to go through some specific formulas because math makes everything a little bit easier, but it is somewhat overwhelming too. But when it comes down to it, I needed more people in these, but I'm so grateful for all the people who joined. And what a sweet thing it was for me to recognize while my numbers weren't where I wanted them to be. I didn't hit my goals. It was amazing to interact with the 51 people that were involved with the training and the 58 people who are in the Facebook group posting videos right now. Oh my gosh, kudos to you. Oh my gosh, you're showing up, you're doing the work. And because there are less people in the challenge, I get to interact in such a different way. My time isn't split across 400 people, it's split between 58. And of course, not everyone is interacting with the video challenge that has signed up, but I'm able to interact in a different way. So that gives me a perspective that I want to keep with me no matter what happens in this launch. No matter if 100 yoga teachers sign up or if 5 yoga teachers sign up for the membership, I am going to celebrate those 5 people. I'm going to celebrate every single person that I get to write down on those Post-its that are behind my desk. But again, I am going to talk about the numbers because there is some of it when it comes to an online launch or any launch really, that there is a numbers game that you have to know. And as much as we don't want to recognize, oh, you have to have a numbers game that plays into this, it's important. And if you want to run a successful business, it's important to know this and not shy away from it. Because trust me, I did the shying away. I did the, oh, numbers make me nervous. And, oh, I don't have to have that. I can have less people and it'll still be fine. I've done all of that and it doesn't work. You have to think about the numbers, but you can also leave a little room in there for some magic too. It's okay to know that things can be different, but you just have to remember that you can start with a numbers game and know that you can play around and use some other things to your advantage as well. The two things that I think I could have done differently to get more people into the free training and the challenge was to promote it earlier. And the thing with a challenge is that you really don't want to promote that really early, because people will get, they'll lose interest, or they won't think about it. They won't remember they're in it. So you really don't want to promote it any more than 2 weeks out. But I only promoted it 1 week out. So I might push that to 2 weeks in the next launch. And another thing is I didn't run any ads for the challenge, but I did run ads for the webinar. So I think I'll play around. I don't know everything about Facebook and Instagram ads. I'm in the process of learning. So I hope that by the next launch that I do later in 2020, that I will have a little bit more understanding of the ads and can run more effective ads for both the challenge and a webinar. So back on to that numbers game a little bit. I'm just going to give this as a quick rundown and not spend too much time on it because, again, I don't want it to be overwhelming. I'm going to give you the example of a webinar and those conversion rates. And what you want to do is you actually start with your goal and then you work backwards with some division. Because here's what it comes down to. For a webinar, these are the average percentages, okay? So there are definitely outliers in this, but this is how you do the math when it comes to hosting anything for free that will lead to a paid offer. Again, specifically, this is a webinar because you would get someone on the webinar and then you would have a sell at the end. So what it comes down to is that 50% of the people who view your landing page for your free webinar or training or masterclass will actually sign up. So 50% of people is the percentage you need to know there. And then of that 50%, typically only 36 will actually show up to something that's free. And this is because it's free. And I want to really hone in on that point for a minute because so many of us want to provide free stuff to our audience. But please keep this number in mind. Only 36% of people will actually take the action, do the thing, and actually show up. So it's important for the really high ticket offerings that you have that people do pay for it. But this is a free offering, so you want to keep in mind that 36% are going to show up. And then of those 36% of people, only 19 are likely to convert to your paid offer. Those are the percentages you need. So I'm going to give my example, and remember, my numbers are way higher, so don't freak out, but just so you know, I was totally sweating when I did this math. So for my example, I'm calling in 100 yoga teachers, and I want to convert 100 yoga teachers to join the membership. So this means if I was to have a webinar, and that was the only selling point for the membership, which is not where I am, but I want to call attention to that. If I was only selling the membership and only opening the doors to people that were attending a webinar, in order for me to get the 100 people, I would actually have to have 2,924 people see my landing page. I would then have to have 1,462 people sign up. And then of those people that signed up, only 526 would actually show up to convert to the 100 people that would sign up for the membership. Those are huge numbers. When I did the math, I totally freaked out about it. But then I remembered, it's not like I'm only selling the membership to the people that show up on a webinar. That's not realistic. That's putting all your eggs in one basket. Not a good idea. I would never suggest doing that when it comes to marketing your offer. And that's totally not what I was going to do. So I told you I had a webinar and a challenge. And remember, I also have my email list and my Instagram and my Facebook group. There's a lot of other pieces in this. So it's not like I only had to have that. But when I did that math, it totally freaked me out. So I definitely want you to know, when you go down this numbers game path, You can freak yourself out, but just remember, you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. This is why you need a marketing plan, so you're not putting all the eggs in one basket. It's so important, or else you can totally freak yourself out and you'll go down a rabbit trail that you just don't need to go down because you have other ways of getting people to your offer. So I just mentioned the other things that I have going. So I have the email list and my social media followings, but I also have a few other things that are going to play into my favor because technically on paper right now, it does not make sense for me to meet my good goal of 100. It just doesn't make sense with all of my numbers because remember, I could add everything together, my email list, my social following, all the people that signed up for the webinar and the challenge. But the thing is that there's overlap. There's overlap on all those lists as well. So all those numbers combined is not the total number. So the thing that I have done, and I would encourage anyone to do when you're thinking about launching, is how can you use other people's audiences to help that number and really balance it out? And the one thing that I'm doing, which I'm so excited about, is the affiliate program. So all the founding members that are already in the membership and they know what's in there, they have been interacting with me for the last 4 months, and it's been amazing. If there's anyone who can sell the membership, it's them because they are in it. It's not me. They're getting the benefit of everything I'm putting into the membership, and their words are what's going to sell the membership. And they all have an audience of people. They all know other yoga teachers that they could tell people, hey, Amanda's membership is amazing. And that's all they would have to do. So what I decided to do is create an affiliate program where the founding members actually earn a percentage of anyone that they bring into the membership. This gives them incentive to do a little marketing for me, which is amazing. But even more, this is my way of giving back to them. They get to earn some money by bringing their friends in to the membership because they trusted me. They trusted me before I had anything in the membership. This is something that I wanted to do from the very beginning, and I'm so excited to do it. And so I actually had one of the affiliates reach out and say how excited she was. And she said, Amanda, my goal is to bring 5 to 10 members into your membership. And I was like, yes, girl, that is so amazing. Let's do this. Because that means that I am doing something in the membership that is affecting her business in a positive way, so much so that she wants to bring more people in. And she's seeing it as a revenue generator for her business. This allows her business to grow too. It's such a win-win. And I can't talk about it in a better way because it's using other people's audiences to reach new people. And the other thing that I have working in my favor is that I trust this process. I've gone through this process many times myself and coached other people through it as well. And I know that I will be okay. I know that if I hit my goal, my good goal of 100, I'm going to be so pumped up. But you know what else? If I don't hit my goal of 100, I'm still going to be okay. I'm still going to be welcoming new members into the membership, and I cannot wait to welcome them. I'm so excited because what that means is that I am helping and impacting yoga teachers that then get to impact so many other people. And this is exactly what I set out to do. And so this detachment from the number is a game changer. And I remember my first business coach that told me this, and she said, you've got to detach from the number. You need to step away and not feel like you're going to crumble if you don't hit your goal. And I didn't understand that right at first because I thought, but what? I set a goal. Like, I'm supposed to be working towards this. Of course I need to be attached to the number. But I think that there's just a big difference between setting a goal and really working towards it. Like hardcore. If you can't tell, I'm working my tail off here. I'm trying so hard to reach my goal that I know at the end of this process that I couldn't have done anything differently right now. There are things that I will do differently in the next launch, but right now I'm giving it everything I have. every single thing. I am leaving nothing on the table so that when I finish this launch, whether I welcome in my good goal of 100, if I welcome in 100, oh my gosh, that's going to be such a great day for me. But if I don't, man, I still worked my tail off and I'm so proud of myself. And that is where the detachment comes from. If you can set that goal and say, yes, I'm going to work towards that and I really want it to happen. But if it doesn't happen, it's okay. I found myself at one point during this process, I said, I'm going to be devastated if I don't get 100. And I caught myself. And ever since that moment, I have really worked to not think that way because I'm not going to be devastated. You know what I would be devastated at? Is if I didn't try my hardest. If I didn't show up every day during this launch and give it my best. That's what would be devastating, not me missing my goal. If I am working so hard, I can be so proud of what I'm doing. And this comes from, wouldn't you tell your friend that? Wouldn't you tell your friend, man, you worked so hard. You worked so hard. You should be so proud of what you did. Or what about what you tell to your children when they are working so hard to do something? You don't tell them, shame on you, you didn't make your goal. You tell them how hard they worked. And so we have to remember to be nice to ourselves too. And I'm speaking to myself here. If you can't tell, this is my pump up for myself because it's really important to remember how hard we work for things. Now, if you don't show up and you don't actually work hard to market the thing, then that's different. And you can feel bad about that. But you know what you can do after that is show up the next time and push yourself and do it again. But I can promise you that at the end of this launch, if there is anything I know, I'm going to be incredibly proud of all the work I've done because I'm already proud of all the work I've done so far. And I know I'm not going to give up. And part of that is because I'm showing up for you. So a little bit of this is I'm doing this podcast to hold me accountable. So remember that. Figure out what you need to hold yourself accountable. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't show up if I wasn't talking this through on the podcast, but it gives another level. You know, I'm here to teach you, and I'm here to talk you through things. So if I'm not showing up with my full game face on, then I can't really coach you that well either. So this is one thing that I would like to call attention to as well, is knowing what you need in order to really show up for yourself. Okay, so after all that pump up talk, like I'm so proud of myself, all this good stuff, are you ready to hear how I'm really feeling and how I'm really doing inside this body of mine? Because I had a total meltdown last weekend, like full on cry. And you should know this about me, but I'm not really a crier. But in that moment, I had tears. Let me tell you, I had tears, and it's because of one thing, and it can be summed up in one word, and that word is technology. If there is anything that can break me, it is technology. Because I absolutely suck at being my own IT person. Oh my gosh, it is terrible. It is not my strong suit, and I know it. Trust me when I say I have messed so many things up in my business, because I cannot figure out technology 9 times out of 10. It's amazing. And so when things bubble up, so when I'm getting less sleep than normal, when I'm feeling the pressure, technology breaks me. So here I was working on a Saturday, which I don't freaking do, and I'm stressed out, and something happened, and I really couldn't figure it out. It took me an hour to figure out the tech issue, but I finally figured it out. And you would think in that moment I'd be so proud of myself and I would be so happy. But nope, that's not what happened. In that moment, I burst into tears. I nearly lost it sitting here at my computer. And I had the sense to get my butt out of my chair, and I walked out of my office and into our living room and asked my husband for a hug. Oh my gosh, poor guy probably thought something terrible happened, but he was such a great support. And so in this moment, I want you to know that whether it's a spouse or a friend, a biz bestie, whatever, know that you need someone during a launch because the stress is so high. I don't want to deter anyone from launching, from doing something really special in your business, but I want you to set yourself up for success, and you need a friend. not only am I getting the incredible support from my husband, but I also have friends that I can call. A huge shout out to Shannon. Shannon Crow has been amazing during this because if you don't know her, check her out at the Connected Yoga Teacher. But she is also going through a launch as well. And so we have decided to be each other's launch coach during this because we're launching at different times, but similar, and we can pick each other up, when we need it. So shout out to everyone who's showing me support in this. And it's just really important to know what you need. And that is really important. So I had the meltdown on Saturday and I got through it. I worked the majority of the day, which I don't love doing on the weekends, but I made it through it. And then I decided I'm going to take a nap on Sunday. So yes, I'm going to take a nap. Well, another thing about me is that I'm really not a good napper either. And so I sat down and I was trying to take a nap and I just couldn't do it because I felt this incredible sense of overwhelm. And I just felt like, man, I am not handling this well. I kind of pride myself that I'm pretty good under pressure and I'm not feeling well. My body is just not feeling well. So I got up and I decided I'm going to make a list of everything that's in my head because I feel like it's so long and I've just got to get it down and prioritize it. And you know what? I made the list and it wasn't even that long. It was totally doable. It was like this moment where my brain said, Amanda, pump the brakes. You've done so much already. You've already figured out so much of this. What it really came down to is I'm freaked out about the technology and it breaking on Friday morning when I need all of this to work. Because on Friday morning, I don't have someone who can help me. I'm alone on Friday morning. If something breaks, I have to figure it out. And remember, I'm by myself this week, so I also have to do taxi duty on Friday morning. So if you're listening to this and you witnessed me having any technical difficulties on Friday, I hope you gave me a lot of grace because that is the thing that's working against me right now. I did so much pre-planning, but there's just certain things that you can't do until something is open. You can't test something until you open it. And so Friday morning is when I'm opening and I feel like I'm in tech purgatory until that time, which is a disaster. But what I'm doing in the meantime is just trying to keep my emotions in check and remember that's what I'm freaked out about. I'm not freaked out about anything else. It's really the technology. So yes, I have this overwhelm about the tech and I'm feeling a little disconnected from my family and friends right now because it is heads down and all work right now, it feels like. But I wish I could explain to you, and I hope you can hear it in my voice, that I'm so dang excited too. I can feel the energy and the momentum in my business and I freaking love every second of it. I can't help but smile when I see what's happening in my business. I love what's happening, and it's because I'm listening to you, my sweet yoga teacher friends, who are telling me, I want this. Amanda, give us more of this. The founding members, and a huge shout out, oh my gosh, a huge shout out to all the founding members. They have been incredible in this process. Because launching is tough and it's so time consuming. And so what I did at the beginning of September is I said, hey, founding members, just so you know, this is my launch time and I'm here for you, but give me a little grace on the time. Kind of did the same thing that I'm doing with my family and just saying, this is what's happening. Here's what's going on. And on a side note, I also asked them in advance for their words of encouragement. So yes, I have testimonials on the website and I do have a bank of testimonials that you'll see on social media and all of these things, but they also shared really sweet words of encouragement just to me. These are words that I probably won't share on social media. These are the words that I'm receiving over Instagram DMs when they see me promoting something about the challenge and they say, Amanda, you are impacting my business. Thank you for helping me grow my business. And these words are the words that are going to keep me going. And I knew enough to ask for them in advance. I don't want to sit here and think, oh, who am I to have this membership and start that doubting game and not have anything to read. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of those words of encouragement and write them on a big Post-it, and it's going to be in front of me all the time. During the next 2 weeks of this launch, I am going to have words from my founding members telling me how I am helping them. Very specifically, I am going to be reading how I am helping them grow their business and how I am encouraging them, because this is what the membership is all about. Yes, I help them with education and I teach them how to do certain things, in which I hope that you become a member and you can be part of this, because I am helping you learn as a member to do certain things like use Facebook groups or Instagram stories or email marketing. All of those things are included, but my favorite part is the encouragement, not only from me, but from the other members. It is my favorite part about watching this membership grow. It is the encouragement that's inside, and I just love it. And this is what fuels everything for me. So yes, launching is tough. It's time consuming. It is exhausting, and I'm so tired, but it is worth every freaking second of it. It is worth every second of it. It's amazing, and I cannot wait to help as many people who join the membership as possible. Again, whether it's 5 or 100, who cares, right? I'm so excited to welcome you into the membership, and that is what is fueling this. And I want you to remember that as a yoga teacher. The next time that you're really hesitant to invite someone to class or promote your workshop or your class series, whatever it is, I want you to remember how you are impacting people. I want you to ask for feedback and write it down so you can see it. Think about it ahead of time. This is me talking, like I asked my founding members, hey, I know that one weekend I'm going to feel a dip because I know this about myself and I'm going to need your words. And so ask for the words that you need and start writing them down so you can see them, because you are impacting lives. You are impacting lives with all the yoga that you are sharing with your students. And I don't want you to not promote something simply because you're doubting yourself, because I want to tell you that you're doing amazing. So get your students' words and your clients' words and write it down. It will make all the difference in the world. So since this podcast is a little bit different than the rest, it's actually not your next best step that I'm going to outline today. It could be yours if you're listening to this and going through a launch, and I hope that it becomes your next best step. But in this podcast episode, I'm going to outline my next best step, because this is what it's all about. We have to remember to take care of ourselves. And so my next best step is to get a pedicure. I am going to do something that I don't do very often, but it's something that I really enjoy doing. And so I am going to go get a pedicure and drink a glass of wine. And this is how I'm going to unplug from all the launch stuff and let someone else do a little bit of work. And this is something that I came to the idea because it's something that I really, really enjoy. I very much enjoy that. And it's something that I don't do often. So if you find yourself listening to this podcast and you're like, okay, I'm going to listen to Amanda's launch stuff when I'm going through a launch, and you're listening back at this, all I want you to do is find something that you really enjoy doing that you don't do very often. So it's going to feel like an indulgence for you. And that's a pedicure for me right now. In this season of life, I don't go as often, and I would love to do it. So that's what I'm going to do for myself during this launch, and I'm going to enjoy the heck out of it too. And I'm really excited about it. So now I need to make the appointment, because that's the next best step for me. And I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to hearing your comments about it. But until next time, give yourself permission to feel all the feels that come along with a launch and grace along the way. Talk to you soon.